So a lot of my clients have a general idea of where they want to go. They have an idea of a direction, but they don't necessarily see specifically the vision that everyone is telling you that you should have. That whole saying, like, if you don't see it, you can't achieve it. And I don't think that's true, although I am a big visualization person. I used to lay down on the floor of my apartment and just visualize and feel what I want my future to look like all the time, constantly as a practice, and also in fitness. I always visualize a workout and kind of take myself through it before I do it. And so, yes, that is important. But if you don't know specifically what your future looks like, you got to stop forcing it. You got to stop beating yourself up. It's okay. Here's the question to ask yourself, though, and I think it's actually a more important question, and that is, how do you want to feel? So let me explain this. In the relationship that you want, instead of seeing the person, I don't know why I did this, instead of seeing the person, instead of, trying to get very accurate in the vision that you see, instead of seeing like the car that you want, or instead of seeing the house or your work life, instead ask yourself how you want to feel. In the relationship that you want, how do you want the relationship to make you feel? How do you want whatever you're driving to make you feel? How do you want your dream house not to look, but how do you want to feel when you're walking into it, right? How do you want your work to make you feel? What you do every day, what's the feeling if you don't know exactly what it is? Because I believe that there is tremendous power in our feeling and trying to match that feeling. It also leaves room for magic, because if your blueprint is so specific and you're trying to trace that, and the way that life is, things are delivered to us unexpectedly, and things take turns and wild turns, and what you want isn't really what you get, but it's a version of what you get that you didn't think of, right? This happens all the time. And so if you're tracing this very specific blueprint and life is not delivering that for you, you may feel like you failed or it's not happening. You may feel hopeless and discouraged. But if you're pulling more from a feeling and you're like, in work, I want to feel this way. In relationships, I want to feel this way. In my friendships, I want to feel this way. Then you're moving in the right direction based on how you feel. And I also believe that if you're trying to match a feeling more than a vision, you're going to draw that to you. You're going to run toward that, and also leave room for magic, right? Leave room for the unexpected, and then suddenly you have what you wanted because you know it, because you feel it and it matches your feeling, but it's not what you visualized because it's totally different, and that's okay. And I think that's the beauty of life and the universe and how things are presented in our lives, right? The example that I use, so 5 years ago or so, as I was kind of up and coming as a therapist. I don't mean up and coming as in like popular. I mean like up and coming in putting in the hours and taking exams and becoming a therapist, building my practice. I had no idea what I would be doing. And if you told me 5 years ago, okay, John, you're going to be very active on social media and you're going to be, texting people and selling soap, I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? I had no idea, right? But I knew how I wanted to feel. I wanted to design a life that made me feel free to be creative, free to work in a way that was honest to me. And this was really something that I put on a very high, that this was my North Star, because I worked in jobs that I didn't like, that really made me feel invisible. I wasn't able to work outside the box and tap into the mad scientist in me. And I'm obsessed with the unconventional, right? And so I needed to feed that. So I knew that I wanted to feel alive. I knew that I wanted to feel free. I knew I wanted to have the ability to design my day any way that I want. I knew I wanted to work with people in unconventional ways, right? I knew I wanted to play with technology, social media, and all of that kind of like as a therapeutic tool. But I didn't know anything else, right? And by holding on to how I want to feel and leading by that, things, slowly start to line up, and suddenly I've got some book deals, and I'm running retreats, and I'm walking with people around the lake, and working in unconventional ways, and being creative and all of that. And now today, I can honestly say that like I feel so much freedom, and that freedom that I feel in my work prevents me from being in a fight or flight state. And this is the important piece. If you are in, it doesn't matter how subtle it is, if you're in a fight or flight state, it's really hard to thrive because you are in self-protection mode, right? You're now walking with a shield, and that doesn't allow you to hit flow states and thrive. Instead, you are now afraid, right? You're protecting yourself. And so my 20s and 30s, it was always fight or flight. It was always, afraid that the sky was falling and time was running out. And that kept me at a lower potential because I was in panic. And finally, at 46, building a life where I feel a lot less of that. And this doesn't mean that I don't have anxiety and worry and all of that, but I definitely don't feel like the sky's falling anymore. And I'm not in a fight or flight state like I used to be. And so because of that, I am now feeling freedom, and the freedom makes me hit flow states and be creative. It allows me to swim, right? Tap into more of my potential. And I think all of that ripples into other opportunities and projects, and then you start to catch momentum. And so, to make a long video longer, if you feel stuck and you don't know exactly what you want, ask yourself how you want to feel in the relationship, in business, with your body. It doesn't matter, right, what area of your life, but how do you want to feel? And allow yourself to run and swim toward that. Allow yourself to match that feeling. Like, cover your eyes and run toward how you want to feel, and you will know when you get there. And when you open your eyes, it may look very different than what you imagined. Or if you didn't imagine it, it will be fresh, but you will know you're there because you will feel it.